Welcome back to another episode. Manny CA here. Today we're going to be showing you how we loaded our 45 Colt shot for the pistol. We've got a couple of different variations we're going to show you how to do here. Some use regular cardboard wad, and others will use a 45 cal gas check. Depends on how you guys want to load. Depends on what materials you have in hand, and of course your budget. First thing, we're going to be loading these up for 45 Colt, but you can also do this for the 38 Special or the 357 Mag. Same thing to do, same process to do the 357 Mag or 38, or if you want to do, if you've got one of the Smith & Wesson 10 mil revolvers, you can do the same thing with those. Doing the 45 ACP, that's another step that we'll show you on a different video, the way I load shot for my 45, so it'll feed through my 1911. First thing we like to do is we like to cut our wads or overshot cards, and we make these out of just any kind of boxes you have around the house. I'm just using an old cookie box here, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to take a shell for the cartridge that we're loading for. This is the 45 Colt, and we're going to use our deburr and chamfer tool. What we're going to do is we're going to make it where we sharp the edge out a little bit. That way we can use it as a cookie cutter. And you can do the same thing with your 38 Special, with 357. And what you do, we just lay them out there. Make sure that the case is sized, and that you take out, you make sure that the spent primer is out. So, taking these, give it a good smart whack. Move on to the next. Now you don't want to put too many in one, otherwise they're pretty difficult to remove. So you can take I'm using a paper clip here just to kind of give them a push, and they'll come right out, and there you go, you get your wads or your overshot cards, depending on what you're using them for. We're going to put these over the powder, and you'll see how they lock in really nice. So after that, go through, make sure you prime your cases. That's another important step. I've got some already done over here. Next thing we're going to do is we want to make sure that we bell the mouths of these cases enough so that way we can get our shot, powder, and our gas check, which we have over here. We get our gas checks on there and they fit just right. So what we're going to do, for sake of brevity, I've got these already filled with about 9.5 grains of unique we're using. I find unique you can use tightwad. I've used clays before. Any kind of small kind of base powder which burns fast will work really good when you're running 45 Colt, 257, 41 Mag, 10 millimeter. The charges they're real light, 9.5, and considering we're putting 160 grains of shot into that, it's not a lot of pressure. So I'm going to take these, and the first thing you do is you set up your belling die, and you can tell your belling die because it's got this little hat on top of here, which I'll give you a quick rundown for those of you not familiar. They really don't say anything, but if you take the top off, you pull out the actual piece that does the belling, you can see how that fits into the die. So, and then it comes up to the high part over here, and that's what flares the mouth of the die open. So what we're going to do is we're setting this up in the die. You just screw it down until you can feel it touch, and then kind of screw it down a little bit more. Bring your stroke all the way down. Bring the ram up. There you go. You got a nice bell. This kind of overworks the belling in the mouth of these cases, but I think it's worth it. You can also just have a set of 50 or so cases that's all you use them for, is to make pistol shot. Snake shot, critter shot, whatever you want to call it. So now we've got all our cases. They're all belled. What we're going to do is throw our charge. We've got our electronic scale here, and we're doing 9.5 grains of unique. That is way too much. It's kind of fun trying to talk, narrate, and load at the same time. I don't recommend it. 9.5 grains here. Like I said, we are professionals here, so don't try this at home. Actually, do try it at home. It's the whole fun about YouTube. Here we go. We got 9. I tried finding these on Midway USA's website, and they wanted $1, almost $1.25, $1.30 each, and they were sold out, and they were back ordered without any time frame. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to charge directly into our case. So we got our charge in. What I like to do is, before we move on to the next step, use a flashlight. Or since these mouths are so big, you can just kind of peer in. I'm going to do that real quickly here. Just take a quick look. Make sure we've got our, there you go. Just so you can take a look and make sure that we've got a charge in each case. Nothing like a squib to ruin your day, especially if you're at the ranch or out on the range. Everyone's looking at you while you're pounding out your bullet. Well, in this case, it'd be shot. But if you're using a cast bullet or a jacketed bullets will get stuck a little bit tighter than a cast bullet. Alright, so what we're going to do now is place our overshot card right in there. And you see how we did that? That just kind of sits in there. And we're going to use our belling die to get it started so it's nice and straight. So you're just coming down lightly, really light. And then what I like to do is I'll use a 38, a 357 to tap it down. And all we're doing is just giving light pressure and boom. Give it a little bit of a turn, boom. And we're seated. Perfect. Yep, right in there. So we've got our overshot card in there. And again, you can either put it in a die or you can do it by hand. Just kind of get it nice and straight in there. Nothing like having it crooked and then having the shot peter down around your shot or your powder. That's not good. But this is just a really simple method. All we're doing, light pressure, and you can see that is not going anywhere. Once we put our shot on top of that, that is in there pretty tight. I wouldn't worry about it coming loose. Again. Now, the tinkers and all of us, and I know a lot of guys who shoot, a lot of hand loaders are really into loading your own. Would appreciate making these loads. They're easy, simple, a million different ways to do them. People do all kinds of different ways. You know, depending on who you talk to, there's a million ways to do these. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to throw our shot, which is about 160 grains. And I've already weighed these out. I've shot these before. We're going to do 160 grains here. And not a little too much. 1 or 2 pellets go over. What I like to do is I like to give it a little light tapping as I'm settling. That way the shot kind of settles in there. And this shot is reclaim shot I'm using. I've used new shot, but reclaim shot right now, you get a pretty good deal from my local range. And I haven't noticed a difference in the way it flies. I even use it for my shotgun loads. You know, busting quail, pheasant, ducks. Well, not ducks when we used to. Quail, rabbits especially. Stuff goes great. Flies, never had any problem. Here we go. Don't let them tell you that reclaim shot is no good. Especially in these economic times when everything's more expensive. Reclaim shot, as long as it's got somewhat of a round spherical shape to it, it'll fly just as good. We're not, I'm not a competition shooter. I just like to shoot, like to hunt. This kind of makes it really economical. So we're doing 160 grains again of shot. Alright. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use a gas check to top it off. And you can see we kind of want to tap it, get them somewhat even. If they're not even, don't worry about it. Tap it up. What I like to do is just run it back through the belling die, and that helps seat. Just give it a little bit of pressure. There we go. You can do a quarter of a turn also. Just tap it. Just tap it. That's all we're doing. I sound like Bob Ross. Just tap it. See that? So we got a nice cover on our shell. Next, we're going to crimp this guy into position. We'll do a roll crimp. For that, we're going to remove our belling die. We're going to insert our crimp die. Now the crimp die has the top piece, stem, looks just like that, and we don't need that because we're not seating a bullet. You can see it's got a concave mouth in there. That's to take the form of the bullet for the seating process. Inside the die it's stepped, so it'll roll that closed for us. Just drive it up, and what you want to do is you're going to have some initial pressure entering the die just because we opened that mouth a little wider than usual. Doesn't matter. Just give it a little bit of coaxing, it'll go in. Push it all the way through, and you'll feel it scraping the sides of the die, and then just give it a little pressure, and this takes a little bit of a feel. You see that? We've got our roll crimp, so I tighten it just a 1/16 of a turn. Give it a little bit more crimp, and there you go. You've got yourself a nice homemade critter getter. 160 grains of 7.5 or 8 shot, doesn't matter. You can use a reclaim shot. That's what we used here today. And if you saw the video of us shooting out on the ranch back there, we were shooting cans and soda bottles. That was about anywhere from 5 to 10, 12 yards, and we were obliterating everything. Everything was just going. So they are very effective. Great for when you're on a tractor and you got you bust into some raccoons or coyotes that are sleeping. I blasted coyotes with them, and it does a number on them. So hopefully you guys like the videos that we're making. And if you guys have any questions, leave me a link. Same thing. We can do this for the 38 through 57. This right here works for the revolvers. So any of the revolvers you can follow these same steps. It'll work perfectly fine. You can see on this one, if you don't have gas checks, just use a overshot card, just like on a shotgun. See that? Put that overshot card on there. Works just as well. And it ain't going nowhere. So as long as you get a nice bell on there, and then you put a nice crimp. This is something that anybody can do, and it's very, very economical. Again, thanks for watching. Go shooting. Take a child shooting. Join the NRA, because they are the ones fighting for our rights. Until next time.